Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back, and welcome to the review of the Hubsan or Hubsan X4 series quadcopter with built-in camera. We received this a little over a week ago from Tmart. If you're looking to buy this particular one, the link to their website with this direct link will be in the description of this video. Now, first of all, out of the box, just to show you what you're going to get, you're going to get your 2.4 gigahertz radio. It's kind of like a PlayStation type radio deal. It's pretty cool actually, or Batarang. You get your quadcopter, of course. It does come with a protector cage, as well as a 380 milliamp single cell LiPo battery. Package of 4 replacement blades. A USB only charger, which means the only way you recharge this is with a USB charger like this one. You will also get a blade removal tool, which is a nice little added and unexpected bonus. First time I've ever had a quadcopter that came with one of these tools, and it makes it really simple. You just have to wedge it between the bottom of the blade and the top of the motor and lift up like a little pry bar and take your blade off. Too simple. So that's a nice little addition to the package. You also, of course, get your instruction manual, which I highly recommend whether you are a newbie or a seasoned pilot. Must read. Don't necessarily have to read it before flying, but before you want to try doing any stunts with this thing and find out about all the programming features, you might want to read about this in the book. You also get this sheet called Important Notice, and it talks about calibrating the accelerometer, transmitter stick calibration, as well as camera recording function, how it works, recommended SD card, as well as what happens in a crash. So, I'm going to cut right to the chase and give you my star rating right off the beginning. This thing, as far as I'm concerned, definitely gets a solid 3.5 out of 5. Now, the reason being for that is because the radio has some issues that I really don't care for and find very difficult to work with. So let's take a look at the radio first. And it's only the bad points are about the radio. The thing is, when you look at star ratings on reviews or people give them, every machine is going to be different. Some machines I've even given a 4 3/4. You know, it's as near perfect as you're going to get, you know, but I'll never ever give a 5. But this one gets a 3.5 because, number one, it's not perfect. But the radio is a very extremely important part of the equipment and must be user friendly. And this one is only somewhat user-friendly. Your basic functions for, you know, elevation and pirouetting, banking, forward, backward, that stuff's all no-brainer. It's all very simple stuff. Setting your trims, very good, great location. Feel in the hand, pretty decent. It has some strength to the casing. I mean, it's not weak or flexible in any way when you try and give it a twist. Only chews up 4 AAA batteries, which are in the back, which is nice. So it's not hard on batteries. I have some radios that use 8 batteries, believe it or not. So they're power hogs. It does have a digital display, which is very nice. And on that digital display, it shows you where your actual trim settings are sitting. It will also show you a battery level indicator telling you how much power is left in your radio unit. Has the Hubsan insignia on the display that will light up. Also, when you're in expert mode, it will say expert right down at the bottom in the middle of the screen, and when you take off expert mode, it blanks itself out, which means you're in beginner mode. Now, every time you turn on the transmitter for the first time, okay, it puts everything into default, so you're back right into beginner flying mode, which is fine. It saves getting put into accidental expert mode, okay? So good points all on that. The range of the system is actually very, very good, and this is a micro quadcopter, so it is extremely small. So you want to keep it closer to you and not go too far away, because otherwise you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get it back, because it's going to get really tiny the further away it gets from you. What I don't like about the radio, like I said, is very bad points that really knock some points off, is how you switch between expert and regular mode for flying. You have to actually push down on the center of the joystick, because it has a clicker button, so it's activated on and off that way. Now, this isn't so bad if you're already centered. You can just click it quickly. And on default, it will go into expert mode and go instant stunt mode. So you have to read how to, to actually do that stunt, and to whatever direction you're going to do it in. But then in order to deactivate the stunt mode, of course, you've got this one, which is on your throttle side, and you got to listen for beeps, and you can barely even hear the thing beep at all. In fact, even in here, the only noise going on in here, other than me talking right now, is my heater, and even it is enough noise level that it's hard to hear that beep unless the radio is close to my ear. So that is actually very annoying. So when you're outside playing and you want to be able to access these functions, it's one thing for expert to beginner, but when you're messing with that other one, you can't hear that beep outdoors. You're not going to hear it, and so it's kind of a guessing game as to where you're at with it. So you really need to study the manual, find out what the lag time delay is on it, what the beep should be, and how long you're supposed to hold the button down to do whatever. There's also some programming features to this radio that you can program. So this definitely takes this thing right out of the whole toy grade level and into your hobby grade stuff. Now, we've talked before many times about different levels of hobby grade, and this is definitely in the level 1 area, or entry-level hobby grade stuff. Now, on Tmart's site, you can also buy all the replacement parts for this thing without any problem. So anything you break on the quad, you can replace, not an issue. Excuse me. Now, so that's the big problem I have with the radio. Now, for the beginner pilot, you're a complete noob, never even flown anything before, especially a quadcopter, but even a helicopter. Quadcopters fly a little bit differently than what a helicopter does. You do have 4 channels on this, so you have forward, backwards, banking left, banking right, pirouette left, pirouette right, and of course your throttle up and down for raising your speed and elevation, okay? So 4 channels. You have 6-axis gyro for stabilization, and it works in that when things get off kilter, it'll speed up the blades and kick things back to where they need to be, or allow things to be pushed even further forward, depending on the situation. Also, for extreme fast recovery time from doing flips and rolls, the 6-axis gyro kicks in rather quickly. Also, when it comes to stick movements, things are extremely sensitive, so a little move does a lot of a move does an extreme amount. Now, for the beginner noob pilots, you guys are going to want to really take it easy with this thing and go very small stick movements. Learn to hover, learn to move around gently, and learn the controls, because everything's going to go by memory, because you're going to have to be looking up at your quad, okay, like this, and flying it and knowing what you're doing and when you're doing it, so that things don't go wrong. And as you get more comfortable with the quad over time, you can start kicking up your cyclics to do more and more, even in your beginner mode. This thing will fly extremely fast, which was very surprising, to be honest, in a beginner mode. Even indoors and outdoors, it moves very quickly. And the expert mode is what I've actually nicknamed insane mode, because the cyclics on it are just insane. You can get up on a really steep angle with this thing in any direction you want to go. This thing has no problem moving itself around, and at a very fast rate. So for those beginners, stay away from expert mode for a while until you've pretty much mastered the beginner mode. Now, seasoned pilots won't have much difficulty on the learning curve, whereas new pilots will definitely have a bit of a learning curve to deal with. So if you are going to buy this as a new pilot, I do recommend it for anybody, but you need to be aware that this thing is agile, okay, and it is fast. So if you're going to fly indoors, make sure it's in a large area. Now we are going to do a little bit of flying inside the studio here, and my studio is an 8x12 building, so you know it's not very big in here, so I can only do so much. But we do have some footage that we want to record for indoor with this for you guys to look at, as well as we do have outdoor footage already with the viewpoint of seeing this thing physically, as well as what the camera is going to see. So, like I said, very, very impressive machine. Now, as far as the durability factor goes, I find that this thing is extremely durable. It will take some really good impacts and not get any kind of damage done to it. The top cage for protecting blades also helps protect whatever it bumps into. Also, if you end up in one of these and you hit the ground, it's going to have a bit of a spring rate to it and almost a 1/4 inch of distance of protection for that spring rate, so it doesn't hit the blade centers so hard. So it helps protect the motors as well as your blades. Also, the bottom feet have rubber feet on them, which is great for anti-skid, but also helps absorb a lot of shock. Now, this cage design is also a 2-piecer, and it has pop release. So if you were to take this apart for maintenance, okay, so you're going to change, you know, a burnt out LED or a motor, whatever, you know, you need to take this apart. There's two screws that hold it together there, but then you got these legs that have to be popped out of place. Now, a hard enough hit will actually pop the bottom support away from the leg on the top, and you just snap it back in place. It's going to take an extremely hard hit for that to happen. So it is a very strong, durable machine. It does have some weight to it too, with that battery in there and the camera and everything. So it's, you know, a little heavier than your average micro quad, and you still actually do get pretty close to 9 full minutes of flight time, even with going in the faster modes and, you know, recording at the same time. Your LEDs are not able to be turned off, so they're on all the time. So pretty good little durable machine. Now, as far as the camera goes, let's talk about that. You don't get any AAA batteries for the remote, so you're going to have to buy your own batteries. You need to buy your own SD card as well, micro SD. Now, I just got this cheap little Lexar card. It's a 2 gigabyte card. It doesn't even have a speed rating. Okay, so it's not exactly a fast or high capacity card. They recommend an HD SD card, brand name, not some kind of knockoff thing, but you know, whatever. I just $5 memory card, throw it in, you know. So that you'll have to buy yourself. Very easy to put in. You'll notice on your micro SD card, you got this little top shelf on here. That needs to face the bottom of the quadcopter, okay? And then you just put it gently into the slot, and then you push down and listen for the click, and let go, and it locks in place. To get it out, push down, listen for the click, release, and you can take it out, and then move it over to your card reader and take your files off that way. Now, to operate the camera, that is done solely by the quad. There's a little micro switch here. You need to make sure that first you turn on the quad, make sure the gyro syncs and everything's good. Then you can pick up the quad and you can just push this little micro button once, and you'll see a flashing red light in the back here. When you see that little flashing light, you are recording. You push it again and it shuts off the light, recording is stopped, and it saves your file. One of the things they tell you in the little sheet here about the recording thing is that if you have a hard enough crash, it will shut the power down to the quad, and you will lose the file that you just tried to record because it's a power shutdown. I would imagine the same thing would also happen if you ran the battery completely dead and you're high up there. Of course, these are going to drop like stones, right? It's like a helicopter. It will not save your recording. So just be aware you have about, I would say, a good 7 minutes of flying. Then I would stop, and then at that point shut off your camera, stop your recording so it saves, then chew up the last couple minutes of flight time until the machine just doesn't want to get off the ground anymore, and way you go. It does have LiPo cutoffs, so there's no way you can over drain this battery. You can get higher capacity batteries. I'd have to look through Tmart's website, but I know a few websites where even I can get the higher capacity ones that'll still fit in here. But you can check out their Tmart's website too and see. But you're going to need the higher capacity battery from the UDI 816, and that battery will more than likely fit in here without any hassle. But it does come with a 380 milliamp battery, which is quite sufficient for the run time, and your recharge time is between 30 to 40 minutes, more like 40 on depleted battery. And when you do get this brand new out of the box, although it does have a charge in it, it's called a storage mode charge. You really do need to actually plug this thing in and charge it right away properly, and then after that just go as normal as per whatever the manual tells you. Now me personally, I always tell people with stuff like this, go until the blades stop, the lights will stay on, then that's sufficient. Let it cool off for 10 minutes regardless, no matter how you do it. 15 is almost always better, and then recharge it, let it cool down for a few minutes after it's recharged, because the cell packs do get a little bit tiny warm, even though you don't feel it, they are actually warm inside. And then go ahead and fly it after that 10 minutes of after it's been come off the charger. You will get maximum cycles. I've had well over 400 plus cycles out of an average single cell LiPo and still getting full run time. So that's actually pretty good doing it that way. So anyways, cage durability is there. It's very durable. I've had some good bumps with this cage, and it does a wonderful job of protecting the quad as well as whatever it hits. I like how it appears. I like the style of it. I just like, you know, everything about it for a micro quad. It's a great little machine. Anyways, so I guess right now we can fire this thing up for you, show you a little bit of flying in the studio here, and we're going to fire up the camera too, so you'll be able to see what it looks like flying in here, and with its camera and how it sees things in a different light. So just give me a second. I got to move some stuff out of the way just in case I do have a crash. Now this thing does generate a lot of wind, so I got to move all this stuff out of the way too. There we go. Now with this machine, make sure your throttle's down, power on, plug in the quad. There we go. Gyro synced. Yep. Now we're going to turn the camera on. Red light's on. One other thing, big bonus, no microphone on this. I love that. Okay. Obviously, I had a crash earlier. I like this. I popped both my white blades off. There we go. So you'll definitely know if you put your blades back on the wrong spots. I'm going to do some little quick movements for you. Now this is in beginner mode. So as you can see, it is quite agile, quite responsive there. Now I'm going to switch it to the expert mode. And as you can see, it's even more responsive. It is a little difficult to fly in a very small space. Anyways, turn off the camera. I was actually glad that that happened with the blades, because you do pop blades because they can pop off in the right kind of a crash. I actually had both blades pop off on me, and I put them back on. I didn't even pay attention to which one went where. So that was actually kind of good because it just showed you can't take off if you put them back on the wrong way, which means you should really read the book and also check out your blade codes too, because when you go to swap blades on this machine, the way I would advise doing it, it would be keep them together. Now I'm going to take off the guard here, so I can put one blade here, one here, one here, and one here. Now, keeping this in the same orientation, you cannot put this cage on the wrong way. It can't even go upside down. It only goes on one way. So now I'm going to put my blades back on while holding all this down. There you go. Now that's really looking much tinier without the cage. Now I'm just going to give this a little flight. I'm not going to record anything on its own camera. Now this is how it reacts without the cage on it. It's just as stable. So it's just as stable with or without the cage on. I actually like it with the cage because you get that added protection for the machine and for any objects around you. So it's kind of bonus both ways. So anyway, you know, voice your comments, questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer them. In the meantime, enjoy the footage. Whatever footage we just recorded on here will be from what the camera saw. We have some outdoor footage as well in 2 different viewpoints for you to enjoy. Check it out and let us know what you think and what you think of this machine. I think in my books, even though I did rate it at a 3.5, I think it is still an extremely good buy. It's well worth the money. I do recommend it for, you know, a beginner. As far as age-wise, I probably wouldn't recommend something like this to anybody probably under the age of 12. So I would say 12 and up for this machine. And just because there is very small parts in this thing too, and you know, if you do break it, you're going to need to know and learn how to fix it. So usually if you're about 12 years of age and over, you're pretty handy with a couple of little jeweler's screwdrivers, and you know, you'll be able to have some, be able to repair it easily, or your parent, whatever, you know, so, but there's not much to them, and they are like I said, a really good machine, very durable machine, pretty crash resistant, fly is awesome. You know, sorry we can't do flips in here, but don't have enough high ceiling, you know, and don't have enough room to really do high-speed runs, but that's what the outdoor footage is for. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, again, and enjoy the footage, and we'll catch you definitely on the next video. Hey guys, okay, we're out at a big parking lot in town where we've got some room to fly this thing, and so we're gonna also turn on its cam as well, so there'll be two sections for you to watch. Whatever my wife can record here as I'm flying, because it is kind of sunny out here, plus whatever the camera on the quad sees, and we'll see how it does outdoors with that cage on it too. There is a slight breeze out here as well. Now this is just with the low cyclics. That's full throttle. Well, full forward anyway. You can see it can self-correct rather rapidly. That's that 6-axis gyro. So I'm going to turn the camera on the quad now. It's on, it's recording. See, with a light breeze out here, this thing does really well for just being in the beginner mode. So I'm going to switch it over to the expert mode. Pull forward. As you can see, it's quite zippy. Now let's see if we can get it to do a flip here. Now when you are in the expert mode, you'll notice that your pirouetting increases a bit too. Not a huge increase, but it's a bit. Okay, so that's going to be the end of this flight. It's recorded footage as well on its own camera, plus what you see in this segment as well. You get an idea how it picks up in the daylight, you know, the kind of speed you can expect out of this thing. You know, I think it does really, really well for being out in a light breeze, even with that cage on and in beginner mode, because this is back in beginner mode now. And like I said, it does really well. So let's go back to the shop and wrap things up on a final, and give you guys your final verdict on this thing. Thanks for watching, and you know, don't go anywhere. We have the footage after this.